We've all seen bad movie adaptations. Like this one, or this one, or this one, or even this one. Well, what if I told you that board games are about to be put on the map in a similar way? That's right. It's me, Chris George, famous actor and core dancer in Disney's The Little Mermaid. Don't look for me in it. Just believe me. And don't tell IMDb either. I swear it's the truth and not a mistake. And I'm here to spill the secrets of the upcoming board game cinematic universe. I've been hired to be in each and every one of them. Now, I cannot tell you everything. I'm risking a lot just talking about it. I am risking that each one of these films may not be made because I am speaking about them. However, I'm willing to take that risk to give you the inside scoop because you're worth it. This was recommended by my patrons and I would do anything for you. A leak is good for the press anyway, right? So here we go. What's even better is all these board games are connected. How they're connected, that's for the writers to figure out. But I'm going to tell you what I know about the upcoming board game cinematic universe starting right now. First off, of course, starting with Catan. The Settlers of Catan. Colon, it's time to settle the score. Colon, this movie's 10 hours long to represent the 10 victory points. Now, what I'm really excited about Settlers of Catan, colon, it's time to settle the score, colon, first to 10 hours wins. I'm excited because that's slated, that's already all been filmed. I just finished wrapping up on location, and man, it's a doozy. We've got Helen Mirren in the cast. She was lovely to work with. She's actually playing the robber. She's exceptional in it. And basically, it's a story about my family, the Catans, who decide to set off from the regular world and find their own island. And what's unique about this island is it's a very sort of Jack Black in that one where he was so big. Oh, it's my favorite Survivor challenge. Why don't I remember this? It's because I try not to research it. Right, I tried to keep my performance pure. So we set out off into this land, and we find this island, and it's a very small island. It's like really, really small. You can see the horizon, basically where you're standing, and we're deciding, you know what, this is where we will uncover a bountiful harvest, because there's a deity that is on this island, and wherever you're walking, every 30 minutes or so, these giant resources will be spat out at you from the ground. They just will. So there's a great scene. I'll only spoil this one scene, but there's a great scene where I'm walking through the land, and suddenly there's beautiful pastures on either side, and suddenly I get hit by two sheep, and these two sheep actually become, you know, my sidekicks in the story, and we go on all sorts of adventures, but we have to watch out because Helen Mirren keeps on creeping up behind us and shaving them and running away with their wool, and with the physicality of the fox from Outfox. It's kind of like a little Easter egg for you board game fans out there, you know? And so we have to then track down Helen Mirren. She's stolen all of our goods, and we need to build a city on this island before the great resourcening. There's drama, there's intrigue. Me and Harry and Larry, we just made such a dynamic duo, voiced by Seth Rogen and Jack Black. So it's really kind of a nice family feature blend. Nothing too serious. It's rated PG, so you can bring your family to it. Look for that in theaters 2024. That's Settlers of Catan. And speaking of cute critters, coming out also in 2024 and Christmas 2024, we have the animated film Everdell. And so Everdell, it's a really unique story that I had never heard before. They're taking the Everdell tree, you know, that big tree, and it's kind of a place where all the animals can gather. Right? They go to the Evertree, and they live in the Evertree, and they pray at the Evertree, and they tell the story of a great warrior, Martin the Warrior, actually, who protected the Evertree. And so I don't play Martin the Warrior, but I voice a couple characters in that film. I feel very fortunate because I'm doing the voices for every single character in that film except for Logalog the Shrew. That's voiced by Steve Buscemi. And he just wonderful to work with him in the booth. Just really, really wonderful. And so anyway, so I play everybody. But so the general story, and again, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's a young mouse named Matthias, and he's getting visions of this sword. He's a novice monk at Everdell, and he's getting visions of this sword from the great Martin the Warrior, and his mentor, Methuselah, is like, hey, yeah, you can be the next warrior. But right before he's about to go on these visions, the Ever Tree is surrounded by Clooney the rat. We were trying to get George Clooney, honestly, to play that. And we did. Okay, I was lying. It's Steve Buscemi, and George Clooney doing this animated feature all together. So George Clooney the rat, who just goes by Clooney the rat because, you know, he's a bit of a badass. And so he does that sort of last name thing. Anyway, Clooney the rat surrounds the Ever Tree, and Clooney's desperately trying to get in. Somebody sneaks into the Ever Tree, ends up killing Methuselah. Oh, doing the death scene there, I both made myself cry and inspired myself to keep going and fight the fight. And so anyway, Matthias goes on this big journey to get the sword, comes back to Redwall Everdell. Everdell. Cut that part out. Comes back to Everdell comes back to the Ever Tree, where he fights Clooney, drops a bell on him, the great Ever Tree bell, because it grows acorns that are bells. They're both. That's the coins that you're actually getting in Everdell. I thought it was kind of a really neat tie-in as to the victory points. It's saying that the Ever Tree is growing these sort of golden acorns, which in the story we refer to them as bells. So yeah, drops it on Clooney, saves the day, and just has a big old party with Warbeak Sparrow and all of my newfound friends, which I also voice. So again, that's coming 2024, Christmas time. Set the date. Make sure you bring your kids out to see this entirely new feature film of Everdell and the Ever Tree. There's going to be a whole series, 17 books or screenplays. Yes, that was a pretty exciting one. But that's not all. That's not all. A slight deviation for this. I felt like I was getting too much into kid territory, you know what I mean? And as a professional and very famous actor and YouTube star, I like to stretch my muscles, you know? I really like to stretch my range, and sure, I did that kids one. You have to do Catan, right? Obviously, you got to do Catan. And then I just felt like I was being kind of put into this box, so I wanted to do something, a little spicy, if you know what I mean. A little bit more adult-oriented. So this next one is rated R. It does have some scary blood and gore, and it also has some rage. Of course, this is the famous Viking thriller, The Last Kingdom by John D. Clare. Just kidding, it's blood rage. Yes, of course it's blood rage. I actually have the great honor of playing a smaller Viking. You would have seen in the summer I grew my beard out, and it's because now I can announce it. I was filming Blood Rage. I just have a smaller part in this one, right? It takes a lot. They had a large filming schedule, these huge battles, but I played just a very small part. I played a Viking called Baby Bjorn, and I'm the first person to discover Ragnarok. So you'll see me right at the beginning of the film. I'm not quite sure how the rest of the film will pan out. And of course, I don't want to spoil it. I'm never going to spoil the entire plot line for any movie in this recap. But I am the Viking that discovers where Ragnarok will fall. I'm kind of a mystic Viking as well. They refer to me as Baby. And I'm often just in the corner of a room. And then you hear this music playing. You hear this music playing at the beginning, and they're like, "Baby, go check it out." And it's like, I had the time of my life. Something along those times. And now it's over. Yeah, it keeps building. It's over. It keeps building to this thing, and I look up into the sky, and I see this asteroid coming down, this pit of molten fire. CGI. It's going to be amazing. And this molten fire peels down like a meteorite, and a meteor from heaven. And it splits into four, and I see the four areas of where it's gonna fall, and I say, Utgard, Annalang, Mikulor, and then I look directly at the camera. And I go, "Baby, and then because I'm in my little bonnet too, just like to symbolize like it's kind of half bonnet, half shaman's hood, and I go, oh, and I say Ragnarok is coming, and I get drenched in molten fire. So it's a really great start to the Blood Rage movie. I cannot wait to see the talent that is coming out of here. They did a strange casting choice, but I just really think Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber, Harry Styles, and Samuel L. Jackson will do a wonderful job as the heads of the 4 different clans. I don't know which one's going to win, but it's sure to be a mystery until the very end. So honestly, like, I can't wait. I'll do a vlog of the premiere night, you know what I mean? So the more Blood Rage content for sure will come down the line for this channel, but I just thought that was one that I just had to share, because I've already seen the cut and the edit, and that's coming out summer 2025 as well. So very, very honored and blessed, really blessed to be a part of that one. Now, I couldn't really get enough of that grit, cut my teeth on it, and really, I'm super excited to get to be a part in the board game cinematic universe's origin story when we do a period piece focusing on the industrial age. That's right, of course, you didn't hear it from me, but Brass Birmingham versus Lancashire is coming to a theater near you in 2025. Yeah, that's right. Brass Birmingham, I just heard word that we're going to be premiering this at TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival 2025, so I cannot wait. Move over, Monopoly. You thought I was wearing a top hat in the thumbnail for Monopoly? No. It was for Brass Lancashire versus Birmingham, and this tells the epic tale of 2 cities. It focuses on ordinary civilians just trying to make it. There's a little urchin, Ollie, who keeps going around asking for food. Can't get enough of that food. But everybody doesn't have food, because back then, and this is actually a historical fact that I learned when researching for the play, back then everybody just ate coal and iron. That's why their teeth were so weird, right? That's where the sort of British dentistry stereotype comes from. It's because of all the coal and the iron that they kept consuming in those parts. And so it's this incredible story of this conflict between these 2 nations, these 2 cities rather, that feel like nations because they're so richly developed. These 2 cities that are vying over the same quarry of coal, because everybody needs coal to produce their goods. And so it does take place just in the Iron Era. They don't have the 2 ages, which when you're doing an adaptation, I get it, but I kind of wanted to see the Canal Era versus the Iron Era, but it's already 4 hours long, and I think that just got cut for time. I think they filmed it. I was more in the Iron Era, so I wasn't sure. But I think it just got cut for time because it didn't deal with the overarching themes of poverty and coal consumption as strongly as the other era is. And also 90% of this takes place on a train. Very Snowpiercer style, right? It's very gritty and dark because you have to go to Lancaster and Birmingham, but that's a 2-hour and 13-minute train ride, right? And so that's why it's 4 hours, because you get an hour in Lancaster, you take the train all the way over to Birmingham, real time, and then you do an hour in Birmingham to kind of close it up. And it's just wonderful seeing the parallels between these 2 areas. I, of course, was in Birmingham. All the men were all the male members of the cast were in Birmingham, and all the female members of the cast were in Lancashire. Lancashire ladies, Birmingham boys. Am I right? That's the tagline for the trailer. And so it became really this lovely commentary, not just about the differences in location, but the differences that any 90s comedy special will tell you about. And so I thought that was really kind of avant-garde that they were playing those sorts of clips, and that you'd hear the train in the background, and you hear subtly underneath someone like Jerry Seinfeld say, "Women walk like this, and men walk like this," and so that one always made me laugh. But yeah, really epic, gritty story. I didn't even tell you who I play. I play Billy Birmingham because of course everybody has the last name of the Birmingham clan. So you can see the subtle tie-ins to Blood Rage, right? You can see how they all link together. I play Billy Birmingham, who is an intrepid cotton maker, and I need enough coal to both feed my family and get my cotton to market, but I only have enough coal to do one of those things. And so then it becomes a choice, right? What do we take? What do we value in society? Do we go for capitalism or do we go for family? Well, let's just say Billy makes a lot of money, okay? You know what I'm talking about. All right, on to the next movie. Speaking about food, I'm really thrilled I got to be part of an awesome indie feature that kind of ties Birmingham and Blood Rage all together. I play an intrepid chef hoping that I can get enough goat milk to please my father and to bring to his feast. This one is also set in the Nordic realms, and so, but it's mostly set inside a kitchen, you know, inside a kitchen where people's passion go into their foods, and the hunt for the perfect goat's milk souffle / Yorkshire pudding, something with those squishy berries from Everdell. And of course, I'm talking about the little indie feature, A Feast for Odin, that's coming out soon. They're building up hype for it. They're trying to build up the hype. Odin is my bastard, miserable father who just can't get enough porridge, but is also tired of all the porridge that people keep feeding him, and so he hosts a national competition to say, hey, I will yield my throne. He's also the king of the land. I will yield my throne to, and this is a direct quote from the play, the chef that can make me the bestest, most tasty nom noms I've ever had. And I thought this was cool, and this is also really cool because, like, if you look in the background, I saw them adding in some like little dim sum containers, and I saw them adding in whatever they make in Kitchen Rush, and there were just every sort of food making board game you could think of was kind of hidden amongst just the attention to detail here is so good. But so I play. I don't know if I mentioned my character's name yet, but if I did, my nickname is what I'm about to tell you, and because my character's name is actually Lars Odin's son, obviously being Odin's son, but everybody just calls me Milky, you know? It's like, oh, because nobody really takes me seriously. Everybody's cooking with these like really fancy ingredients, and here I am working with just goat's milk and fish and wheat and also some ornate chests for some reason, because I think it will, well, I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say that Odin has expensive taste, if you know what I mean. So trying to get this feast together, all the while I'm fighting for this place on the throne, and my love interest, Yorna, Odin's daughter, is at the table right next to me, working with eggs and omelets. And I don't know, I just love the scene where we were throwing little puffs of flour at each other, and it starts out in a rage, and yeah, it just ends up being like a really romantic story. I thought the character naming was a bit confusing, and maybe that'll change in post. We might have to do some reshoots because we're not related, but well, we have different last names, right? Like, I think that's what they thought, okay, they're different last names, but if people think Odin's son, Odin's daughter, and then Odin always comes over to her and keeps saying, my two favorite children the whole time, so that kind of puts a real damper on the whole romance thing. But I don't know. I think the edit will fix it. And I just think it's going to be a wonderful love story, rom-com, and it was nice to do. So that's movie number 5. And I've got 5 more of these to do. Because I said 10. I said 10 in the title, and I can't lie. I can't lie about the title. I haven't lied. I would never lie to you, not even once. And that's why you're here. Actually, one that I can tell you about, which I am not personally in, I'm just doing the narration. And this doesn't actually tie in with the Board Game Cinematic Universe, but it is semi-related. It stars another board gaming YouTuber. That is the documentary that's coming out. It's called Wingspan, You Can't Stop the Beak, sometimes octopuses are in there too, because octopuses have beaks. Anyway, I'm doing the narration. Yeah, I actually beat out David Attenborough. And so I just want to show you a clip that includes a famous YouTuber, Paula Deming, as well, starring as one of the birds. See how the raven thrush sits upon her nest, bravely shimmering her plumage to keep all predators at bay. The raven is a hungry creature, with an insatiable appetite for both eggs and seeds. Common peasants should be aware of feeding the raven too many seeds, or it will become angry. Now, Paula was just perfect for this role as an undercover operative so that we could actually get closer to the birds. We were inspired, everybody was inspired by her work in her Wingspan strategy guide, which I'll link down below. What an incredible actor Paula is. Move over Sacha Baron Cohen in terms of really embodying a character and ingratiating yourself amongst animals. There's nobody better in the business. I know I am an incredibly talented actor and famous YouTuber, and I don't know if I would have been able to do it as well as Paula. So it was a true honor to get to narrate the whole goings on and really take a deep, in-depth look at all 170 birds, each and every one of them in the base edition of Wingspan. I think I better keep my narration voice dusted off and well lubricated, because I have a feeling this one is gonna be a hit. I don't even know, honestly. I had a problem with my next one. I have a confession. I got into some gambling debt, and I had to take this one for the money. You know, a lot of time as actors, we like to, and famous YouTube stars, we like to just do things that feed our soul creatively, right? We want to do things that empower us and that make us feel great. And this one, I just felt like there wasn't enough attention to detail here. I get it. I get that it's Stanley Kubrick, and I get that he likes to twist things, but I'm kind of a board game purist, you know? And so when I heard that I was going to be starring in Food Chain Magnate, the musical, I thought, wow, this is finally my chance to shine. I'll get to do that sort of soda pop barbershop quartet music that you hear, that Diners 1950 style. They hired on Lin-Manuel Miranda to write the music, and I thought, okay, perfect. He is perfect in that style. And I was very excited to work with him. And of course, he listened to my rap and he said, wow, I'm never writing rap again. It's good that I've transitioned to the 1950s style, because I would feel pretty foolish writing rap after hearing you do it. And I thought, that's so nice of you, Lin. Like, don't be so down on yourself. Not everybody can be like me. But I was really excited for this meld of talents. I don't know if I like the direction of this movie. There wasn't as much music as I wanted it to. Lin eventually left the project due to creative differences with Stanley Kubrick, and I couldn't, because again, I had those large gambling debts. And so I liked that it really focused on me. Like, it was a very small cast, but I wasn't sure about the idea of me walking through the streets in a suit made entirely out of metal and just zapping all the food that I could to my body. And they cut most of my lines too. Like, you can do a lot with just physicality, and I tried to, but I just thought me shouting that, he made me shout, "It's me! I am the food chain magnate." And this is when the buildings were being torn down. I like that I get to be in the climax of the show, right? Like, it starts out as like a very mom and pop shop, pop top, cropped with colors that can't stop. So it was all red. You get, that's a little joke for you there. And then, like, I get it. It's a climax. It's like, oh, you've been living in this fantasy world for such a long time. It's very much like Pleasantville. I get the shifting of the genre. I just kind of feel like it was Kubrick who misread the source material and then just kind of doubled down on it. You know, I think he was pitched the idea. I don't think he came up with the script himself. And it just feels a little, I just don't think the fans are going to like it, right? I'm not claiming all these movies are going to be good. I just think it's going to be the Iron Fist of the board game cinematic universe is what it's going to be. And no matter how many times I said, I am the food chain magnate, just like no matter how many times Danny Rand says, I'm Danny Rand, over and over in that first episode, it's not enough to save it, you know? Thankfully, I know everything else that I've been involved in, like, that's going to air before this, should build me enough, like, cachet with the fans. And of course, I already have that already. I just, yeah, the costume was not good. It was not good. But I'm in it. I hope they obscure my face. So I do have 3 more, though, that I am really excited to talk about. One is the only time that I am going to space, and they actually what's awesome about this movie is that it was literally filmed in outer space on a space station. That is the feature films. Yes, Awakened Realms finally has decided to come and work with me, and they're working with me in a big way. Nemesis, the thriller sci-fi mystery, is coming to theaters in 2034. I know it's a bit later. I know it's a little bit later, but that's just because Kaman's a producer on it. They decided to link up. I didn't get cast in Zombicide, so this is a good it's a good one. Anyway, Nemesis is an entirely new story in space that you've never seen before. It stars a 7-person cast plus the Nemesis. Anyway, it's our spaceship Nemesis, also called the Nemesis, is returning to Earth. We've got all of our crew is in stasis. Captain Nallus, Executive Officer Nain, Warrant Officer Nipley. That's really unfortunate. I was going with ends for Nemesis. I did not see that coming, but that's what it is. That's what it is. Navigator Nambert, Science Officer Nash, and engineers Narker and Net. All 7 of us are in stasis. I'm not going to tell you who I'm playing, but it is Nipley. But because of a transmission from a nearby moon, our ship computer, Nother, it awakens the crew. And so because company policy is that we investigate any distress signal, we land on the moon. Even though Narker's like, no, I don't want to do that, we still do it. And we find like an alien ship, a derelict alien ship. And so Nain on the ship discovers a bunch of eggs, and so Nain touches an egg, and a little alien jumps out, and it gets him, and it gets inside of him. And so I'm like, listen, we can't let you on board where there are quarantine restrictions. And then Nash is like, no, let us on. We're not listening to you, Nipley. There's lots of death. I don't want to spoil it for you. So the alien gets on board, and that's kind of how the story really takes off. And then Nemesis heads back towards Earth. There's lots of fighting, lots of intrigue, and what I thought was really cool about this is that you see the alien the entire time. Like from the moment it gets onto the ship, every single shot has the alien lurking in the background. It's just sitting there, and nobody notices it. So I just think that's a really cool commentary on us as individuals that we don't notice things that are potentially right in front of us. And at some points in time, my character Nipley believes the stories and the lore, the moon lore that everybody on the crew of the Nemesis had to learn before taking off. The moon lore, and sometimes Nipley believes it, and sometimes not. So it's this really, really cool back and forth of Nipley believing or not. Anyway, that was the only real like sci-fi experience that I am a part of. I prefer down-to-earth games, or movies rather. Any movies, but I just like movies that kind of focus on the relationship between people. So I feel really honored about this next movie that I got to be a part of it. It's just a simple love story. It's a simple love story between somebody who can hear and somebody who is deaf. And so I learned ASL for this role. I played the hearing person, obviously, because we should cast people who are right for the roles as right for the roles. And so I wasn't sure if this film was going to come out, but me and my co-star Helen, we had a wonderful relationship together. It's just a really beautiful love story about overcoming communication barriers and overcoming your own emotions. It's a 2-person show. It could be a play. In fact, we were planning on doing a play, and then unfortunately we can no longer because Helen isn't really around anymore. But it was just such a beautiful experience that's finally going to be coming out very soon in the near future of these 2 people learning to connect and to communicate with each other. And the end of the movie is just us holding hands and opening the door to a brighter future. My co-star Helen has since passed away, but I first took note of her as Agnes in Burning Love, and it was just an honor, a true honor, to work with her. And we even managed to slip in that famous line, "Why isn't there yogurt?" into the film. So it was a true treat working with such a legend. Truly, honestly, it was incredible. Yeah, the rumors are true. The rumors are true. I'll just leave it at that. The rumors are true. And the last one was just very avant-garde experience, but one that worked this time because I really felt they took the entire history into account. I play a young soldier named, and yet still put their own twist on it. Derek Linklater directed this, Richard Linklater's cousin. And I think he was trying to live up to the reputation of his older cousin, and so wanted to take it on with this. But anyway, I play a young soldier named Hadrian, and it's a very simple piece. It took us, honestly, I have to go back for another round of filming pretty soon. So we're not done filming this yet. I'm not sure when this is going to come out. And because we're filming it on location in Rome, it's kind of a nightmare to go back and forth and travel. But he wanted to do that same sort of boyhood progression to show, and it's just me. It's just me in the show. It's just about me making a name for myself in this world. I grew up looking at the Eiffel Tower and the Arc de Triomphe and the palaces of Halicarnassus, the areas of Babylon that people talk about, and all the other wonders of the world, man-made and not. And I thought, one day my name is going to be on one of those things. You know, one day I can stop the fighting. There's fighting all around me. That's going to be CGI though. We didn't AI. We didn't hire anybody. It's better that way. And because then I can just focus, then I can just focus on my work and my craft and building this monument brick by brick and doing the actual physical labor. I've learned so much about clay and building everything. Clay, where do you think that comes from? That's right. Full circle back to Settlers of Catan. And I use various materials of the Iron Age and the wood and the golden bells and all sorts of materials to build this giant monument that can be seen from space and that stands metaphorically to separate people when they're having violent intentions and bring them together in another way. I pour my heart and my soul into this, stopping only to eat goat's milk soufflés and Yorkshire puddings, building this monument from Rome all the way to the Nordic lands, and making sure at the top of the walls to build little indentations for anyone to come and nest in, right? Just bringing everything back full circle. That's what Hadrian's Wall is all about. And it is true that every time we do stop filming, people do go and vandalize and pee all over the walls and knock it down. And they say we don't have the building permits to do this. And Derek gets in such a fuss that he calls his brother Dylan Linklater over. Dylan always wearing his stupid hat. And then they have to talk to the building supervisors, but none of them ever learned ancient Roman, which is what everybody is speaking there. But it's okay, we still strive and we still continue to film. We film all this, and that is a job that the editors will have to deal with thanklessly so that I can take all the credit. And that's what it's all about, at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. So yeah, those are the 10 upcoming films in the board game cinematic universe. I'm really excited. I've also heard rumblings of some other ones out there that I am not involved in, like Battlestar Galactica. I've heard that one's good. Or Pandemic. I heard that one was filming for a while. Or Viticulture, which honestly I read the script and it's just a ripoff of Under the Tuscan Sun. And I'm not about ripoffs. So I turned down that role because of my artistic integrity, being a famous actor and YouTube star. So there you go. That's your little inside look into my world and into what I've been doing on my off hours. When I'm not reading through rule books. That's what I've been doing. That's my passion, and I am here to bring board gaming to the world stage and the world screens. And I just really hope that you all pay the inflated ticket price because we've got you here. We've got you. We have an audience that wants it, and we're just gonna put up the price because we can. Just because we can. And you'll still all come to see it. So that's what I'm excited about, is those sort of $40 ticket prices in a theater near you starting 2024 with the family comedy Settlers of Catan, and going from there. Who knows about the other release schedules, but it is moving forward from there up until 2034. Of course, I'll try to keep you posted. Oh, the networks, oh, my hands are tied. I'll try not to let anything else slip, but you're worth it, I gotta go learn how to drive a race car for no particular reason. Let's just say Rallyman Cars, the erotic adult thriller, is chroming to a digital demand near you very soon. Now go buy those advance tickets.